I have Shawshank Redemption on Blu-ray.
What movie did we watch tonight?
Space Amoeba.
It's your favorite guys back together for the first time, and we're talking about our favorite movie,
Space Amoeba.
Space Amoeba.
If you guys know anything about our podcast, if you've been paying attention, you have heard us talk about this movie.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta listen closely.
We bring everything back to Space Amoeba one way or another.
You gotta read between the lines.
Yeah.
So for this one, before we get too far, I want to suggest that we go about this one a little less traditionally than we have been, because this movie, and I think some of the ones that we'll be covering, the plot in this movie has so much going on. Like, this has an overwhelming amount of things, and to chronicle everything just to bring the audience up to speed would really slow the podcast down.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I've been noticing in our episodes, especially the Astro Monster episode.
Yeah.
Just describing that dense plot
takes like 20 minutes.
Yeah, it takes probably about half of our podcast.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we get down to like
minute details.
Yeah,
we like start talking about stuff like while we're doing it too.
Yeah, we go off on tangents and stuff. And I'd like to do this one a little more in the style of our first episode. We just talk about things as they come to us.
Okay.
That being said, we can still introduce a lot of things.
Yeah.
In this movie.
Okay.
Would you like to bring up the first talking point?
Yeah, I'm going to bring up the first talking point, and this is a big one.
Okay.
The dub of this movie. We watched an American, not American, really.
English.
Australian, vaguely, but yeah, English is the right word. An English version of this movie, a dub of it. I don't think they recut it, really, or anything. It's just a...
No, it looks very authentic.
Yeah. The dub, it's weird, guys, fellas. It's a strange one.
Yeah. I've grown up around these awful Toho dubs.
Yeah.
And surprisingly, in my 20 years of life, that's right, everybody, I'm 20 years old, they still surprise me when I hear new ones.
Yeah.
They're still somewhat unpredictable. And in all my years, I've never heard an Australian voice come out of a Japanese woman.
Very strange. You know, it's kind of like you've said, we've grown up around these English dubs where it's just very, hi, how are you doing? Like, this is English, clear English that these people are speaking.
Sometimes you can divide these movies into two categories. The dubs, I mean.
Mm-hmm.
You can divide the dubs into two categories.
Scattergories.
But you have the ones where the Japanese people start talking, and it's like, "Hi, Tetsuko.
Yeah.
How are you?
Yeah.
How was your time on the island?" And then you have the other ones where it's like, "What are you doing over there?" Trying to do a voice.
Yeah, as if which makes no sense to try to talk Asian. Like in an Asian accent. It's racist, first of all, and then
I think the idea behind it is probably it would sell the idea of you're listening to Asian people talk,
I guess,
if you're watching Star Trek and they use the universal communicators, the Klingons are still gonna sound like, you people are not they're still gonna have that. I think it's just to try to sell what the voice is coming out of.
Yeah, I agree, but
I also see what you mean.
Yeah, it doesn't make as much sense as just talking in regular English.
Yeah,
to me, I don't really get why you'd choose that one over the other.
Yeah,
but anyways, so
I think that's a revelation that we've been able to make because of all the movies we have to look back on.
Yeah.
It's an obvious choice today.
Yeah.
But I think back then when they were still dubbing movies, pretty early on, they're like, should we try to...
Yeah.
Should we try to do some Chinese voices?
These morons thought that that the audience wouldn't know where the music was coming from if they put it in the movies, so...
Yeah.
It makes sense that they'd managed to fuck this up. So, like you said, there's basically two types of dubs. Yeah. And this falls into neither category.
Yeah, this falls into the Australian, vaguely British category where, like,
And
you
yeah,
can't tell where anybody's from except for that girl who is
except for that girl and a couple
100% Australian.
and that other guy, the Obunga. What is his fucking name?
I don't remember.
I remember
They said his
it's-
name 1,000,000 times.
Yeah, I thought during it I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna remember his name,
Yeah.
but now I just remember Obunga. It was close to that,
Yeah. It's like,
you know.
Okunga. I don't know.
Yeah, not quite. I don't think. But yeah, so there's like a bunch of Australians.
From down under.
Down under.
We come from down under.
Hello. But yeah, it's fucking weird. It is like I was saying, it makes sense to hear like plain, clean, regular white person English.
Yeah.
You know, when you select English, you know, on a dub.
English dub.
Yeah, that it's like
You got Japanese 5.1.
Yeah.
You got English 2.0.
Yeah, yeah.
Those are your audio choices. in
and
these.
dazzling stereo.
Yeah.
The mono version's much better, by the way, of this movie.
The way they always intended
Yeah,
it.
that's the way they intended it.
You can't fake stereo with these.
It's just bizarre. It's a bizarre dub. They get some stuff wrong at the beginning. I think you were saying I think they fucked up a translation or something.
Okay, yeah. I forgot about that. So
Yeah, I forget exactly what happened. Do you?
I remember what happened.
Okay.
What they're talking about, I don't entirely remember.
The
but
island?
They're talking about the monsters being on the island. So we've got our core cast of characters that's kind of hobbled together. We
Guy,
got
girl,
main guy.
other guy.
We got main guy. I'll give you the rundown real quick. Main guy, he's a photographer. He's a cool guy.
Yeah, he's cool.
He's never really felt comfortable, doing normal work.
Right.
So he's a photographer, and he always goes out of his way to get the scoop.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we got bitch number 1, Wendy Wu,
Some bitch.
some bitch who wants to get in his pants. If
Yes.
you watch the beginning of the movie, she like talks to her boss, who is character number 3.
Yes.
She's like, you told me you were gonna introduce me to him. You told me you were gonna introduce me to him. That's how she talks.
Yeah.
She's from down under. She wants to get in this guy's pants, so she like chases him out to the parking lot. This is main dude I'm talking about.
Right.
She chases him down to the parking lot, and she's like, "Oh my god, I'd like you to come photograph this island." So he goes back up to the room that they were just in,
Yeah.
and she shows him pictures of the island, which I'll talk about later.
We'll get to it.
They're like all over the walls, and they have a fucking model of the island like in
Yeah.
there, and somehow that didn't come up when he was talking about like. So he works for like a newspaper, or he's trying to sell his pictures to a newspaper.
I think that
This
was a
plot
newspaper.
has so much going on.
Yes.
I'll try to give you a really quick summary of like the first 20 minutes.
Mhm.
Okay, so an unmanned spacecraft is going to like Saturn or something,
Something.
or Jupiter or something. Unmanned, doesn't matter. They're trying to land it. It gets a fucking
Cloud.
space amoeba.
Yeah.
It gets a cloud of sentient space
Goo.
particles
Yeah.
inside of it. It crashes back to Earth. The cool guy is in the plane on his way back from an unsuccessful picture-taking mission by the newspaper people.
Yep.
He watches the capsule crash into the ocean,
Takes pictures.
tries to take a picture. Yeah, he goes to back there. He tells them that he saw the spacecraft land in the ocean, but they're like, "That's ridiculous. It's been missing. Why would it be in the ocean? That's so stupid. It was in space last time we heard."
Yeah.
And then the core cast basically gets together because of this island plot. Basically,
There we
that's
go.
yeah. So
That's your first act, or the first part of the first act.
if you remember back to a few episodes ago, the egg guy from Godzilla vs. Mothra, he's made a couple appearances. I think he was also in King Kong vs. Godzilla or something like that.
Yeah, he was.
This movie is also directed by Ishiro Honda.
Yes. If
So-
you can believe it.
Go fucking figure. You got the same guys popping up left and fucking right. Egg Guy's in this movie for like a split second, and he's working at the newspaper. And I think like in every movie he's in, he's working for a fucking newspaper.
Something like that. He's in an office, or he's, in a police station that looks like a newspaper
Yeah.
station. One way or another. He's
So
working for a
to bring it back to what you were saying about my observation of a poor translation is they're
Yes.
talking about monsters. They're like, this is the island, and somebody's like, ah, yes, I heard there's monsters on this island.
Yeah.
They're like, monsters on this island? We just wanted to take pictures of this island that nobody had taken pictures of before. they're like, "Yep, there's monsters there." And then the egg guy he goes like, "Go!"
Yeah,
and
he puts
starts
his
like
hand on his head.
banging his head. He like
Yeah.
slaps his head a couple times,
Yeah.
and then the scene it cuts.
Yeah,
it cuts to another scene.
Yep, cuts to an establishing shot.
Yeah,
Of another scene. It's really it was. I mean, it was immediately like, wait, what?
Baffling.
What? You know, I don't know.
I can only hope that was a fucking bad translation, because if not, then I'm just fucking clueless. I think there was probably like a little joke in there in the Japanese version.
Something that maybe they like set up earlier on or something.
Something that couldn't be translated to English.
I doubt that. I mean,
I'm
just
trying
can't
to
be translated.
I'm just trying to give them the benefit of the doubt. There's some jokes that just don't translate.
I mean, but couldn't they have cut like right before that though?
The translation and dub of this movie probably took place over the course of like 2 days. So
Possibly.
I'm not expecting these people to go out of their way to do something crazy like that, or not crazy, but something they should have done like that.
Yeah. Proper
Their
treatment.
job.
Yeah. Yeah. There's some funny little bits. Like that newspaper guy like comes into the office at that one point and he's like, there's something about the diction of some of these people's words that is like really funny. And sometimes he's like, some people just go, yeah.
Yeah, they say that all the time.
Yeah.
Somebody will say some like crazy shit, and then somebody will be like, yeah.
I don't know. There's something about it in like a movie like this, and like dialogue that it's put next to where it's like it sticks out as like way too casual. You know, it's funny.
The next plot point, really, after that rundown that I gave you guys so generously, everybody gets on a boat to go to the island.
Cruise ship.
The island, which I will get to later, and this is where we meet what is supposed to be one of the main characters.
I guess
He introduces himself as an anthropologist.
Sort of. He has a business card though.
Yeah. Well,
Well,
who's to say anthropologists can't have business cards, though?
I don't want to take a political stance on
Right.
this show.
Yeah.
Not crazy about it. I'll just leave it at that.
So this is a guy we brought up earlier, right? What were we talking about him?
Obunga, yeah.
Yeah. We'll call him Obunga just
Yeah.
because we
I
cannot
can't
remember.
his name. It's close. It's close to his name. We're joking about it.
Obata.
Obata, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. If we can
Okay.
remember that in a minute, we'll
Yeah.
keep
Obata,
using it.
Obata. Okay.
So let's just talk about him for a minute. He shows up on the boat. The writers of this movie couldn't be fucked to think of a better way to introduce him. The two main characters, guy, girl, they're sitting down and talking, just
It's like in a lounge.
"How we're going to this island, aren't we? Hi, yes," that kind
Yeah.
of dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
And he fucking shows up like just from around the corner. He's kind of looking suspicious. Then he says, "Haha, can I join you guys?"
He says, "You guys look like you're having a good time. Can I get in?" It's they're just kind of like
He basically says, "Can I sit down next to you guys?"
yeah, or he basically says, "I'm going to sit down next to you guys." That's what that means.
And the characters, they don't take too well to it. They're like, huh. Especially the girl. She's like,
Yeah. She's like, "I'm kind of trying to get laid here.
yeah.
You're kind of sitting right in the middle of this
So he sits down and he stays with our main characters.
for the rest of the movie."
Pretty much, yeah. So he introduces himself. He's one of those characters where in these movies you can tell they're up to no good.
Mm-hmm.
Even though, like, ultimately, it like the movie doesn't even know what kind of up to no good he's up to.
Yeah, they never really define it. But he's got the facial hair and the glasses.
Yeah.
And, like,
he's
a
wearing
suit.
an all-white suit when
All-white
everybody else is
suit.
wearing kind of casual.
Yeah,
working class
safari.
clothes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
safari garb. But he's in a suit the whole movie, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
It's so
you just know
weird.
immediately from the looks of him, and you're like, "Oh, this motherfucker, he's gonna do something bad."
But he, like, tags along with the main characters.
Yeah, he's really a fifth wheel.
They get up to the island. Well, he's a fourth wheel.
Well, I know he's a fourth wheel, but you know what I mean. I think one of those members takes up two wheels.
So they get to the island. We'll get to the monster attacks a little later, I guess, because we're just trying to cover this guy right now.
Yeah.
So in the wreckage of one of the monster attacks, he finds, like, blueprints to a hotel.
Yeah, I
And
don't
he, like,
remember
steals
them.
them.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
don't remember them
No,
mentioning a
they
hotel.
they never brought up a hotel before.
Yeah, he's like
I'm sure of that.
okay, that I was pretty sure that was the case. I just wanted to make sure with you. But yeah, he's like he like goes in the ruins of it and he gets the plans.
He's
or
being
whatever.
sneaky about it. Like,
Yeah.
out of nowhere, he's just, like, being sneaky.
Mm-hmm.
And straight off the bat, the main character, like, sees him and almost takes a picture of him, like, picking up the blueprints.
Yeah.
And then, like, 5 minutes later, he's like, well, I saw you picking up the blueprints, you sneaky motherfucker.
Yeah, he knows the name of the hotel too. Our main guy knows the name.
They're saying it
like it's a plot element that
as
we
if we're supposed to know it by now.
Yeah.
That is something that is just around, like the blueprints for this fucking hotel that somebody's building.
But it doesn't come off like it was cut out or anything by like the Americans or anything.
I guess I see what you
didn't
mean.
get that vibe. It's
that they
just
were leaving
weird.
out something.
I feel like, or maybe it was like edited out like in all versions.
So much going on in this movie.
Yeah, I
Up
thought
until that point.
Yeah.
Even there's like way too much. You got
aliens,
like,
islands, newspaper
space
pictures,
travel, boats.
Yeah, and then that never really goes anywhere.
So yeah, the guy's like, "Well, I saw you picking up those blueprints," and he goes like, "Ha ha." So you found me out, and then he like throws the blueprints on the ground,
and he's like, and at that point they're like all in trouble. You know, they're all kind of like working. The point is like they're trying to get off the island now.
Yeah,
they're trying to solve the problem.
By monsters.
Yeah, these monsters. I guess you want me to tell them what the monsters are doing, or
let's get into it a little later. Let's finish this guy's weird fucking.
Yeah, so he throws these plans, and he's like, "Yeah, well, we're all on the same side anymore." And that's the end of that hotel shit.
Hotel stuff gone.
Out the plot.
It's done. Those were its 2 mentions.
Yep.
From now on, we're kind of left to believe like, so he's kind of like a backstabber.
Yeah, but he's working with them.
Ulterior motives.
He's got his own interest in mind, but to have his own interest in mind, he's gonna have to work with these people.
Yeah, and he's to an extent he's invested in. He's chummy with our main cast.
Yeah, he's kind of snarky. So at that point, you kind of expect them to sort of come around. You know, in like a sort of general, you know, like, oh, he's going to learn to fight. He's going to save somebody or some shit. It was the most that I thought that arc was going to go through.
Okay. So what happens next? He's around for a while and then he leaves and there's some monster stuff going on. And then he tries to fucking leave on like a life raft that he's pulled out of nowhere. And he's like leaving. And we're basically, you're not missing much by us jumping straight to this. He's like, you know, there's monsters in the plot.
Yeah.
So there's monsters running about at this point.
Yeah.
And he's like in the water and they're like, no, come back. The monster's going to fucking get you in the water.
He's like talking to himself. He's like, that monster's not going to get me.
He says, that monster will never get me. And it cuts immediately to a fucking giant wave that the monster causes, flipping him over.
Yeah.
And we don't see him for like another 15 minutes. And he's like, I thought he fucking died.
Yeah, I assume that as well.
That fucking shitty late 60s editing led me to believe that he was fucking out of the plot. Couldn't be farther from the truth. He washes up on a beach. We see him later. Audibly, I was like, oh my god, this guy's still alive? Because the next shot, the way they shoot it, you can tell like it's not, they're not shooting him like a dead person. They're shooting him like, here he comes.
Yeah.
So sure enough, he wakes up. Next thing that happens to him.
Yeah,
so the alien, the aforementioned
Amoeba.
That
came on this spacecraft that crashed back down to Earth. It's like a thing. It's like it's an optical effect that takes control of anything, and it can make stuff big or just make stuff strong.
So it's been making the monsters in the plot. We'll say that much.
Yeah.
It basically gets in animals and makes them big. Big animals are our monsters for this movie.
Yeah.
At this point, it gets into monsters. The monsters get killed by the people. So now the amoeba gets into Obata.
Yeah.
It gets into him, and we were like, oh my god, is it going to make him fucking big?
That would have been so rad.
Yeah, it would have been fucking crazy.
That would have been so cool.
If it made just fucking giant guy.
Yeah, giant Obata.
Yeah, just some fucking like shifty guy in the plot is suddenly like 50 feet tall.
Yeah, and he's getting villagers and shit. I was like, all right.
Yeah.
There's no way. I knew there was no way that was going to happen, though.
So he gets possessed, and the alien says, standard alien shit, it says, We have
I have control
Yeah.
over your body.
we have developed for millions of years, and now we will take over Earth using your body.
Yeah. It says that they have control both over his conscious and unconscious mind, which
Yeah.
I don't think was true. I think maybe they were lying or they were mistaken. Because later on, or he's still there. That's like the two parts of your mind, conscious and unconscious.
I mean, if we want to get into, if we want to question every word
Yeah, I
said in the
guess.
plot, we could. There's just as much of a problem with everything else as
Yeah.
there is with that.
I don't know if I can believe that these aliens took over his unconscious and conscious mind.
I'm having a
I'll
hard
believe.
time getting over that.
Okay, giant squid walking on land. Okay, all right.
The giant squid walking on land is really hard for me to believe because of this guy.
Yeah, I just don't believe the aliens. I don't buy it.
Yeah.
I don't buy it.
He gets possessed by aliens, and it's like, okay, now you're going to have to kill all the people on this island.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, our main characters have somehow fucking figured out that the alien's weakness is high-frequency noise or something?
Yeah, and the
Caused by bats and dolphins?
Yes.
So Obata's been going around, possessed by the aliens, burning all of the bats on the island. There's like several cave systems.
Yeah.
And he's just been going around.
Pouring gasoline in and setting them on fire.
Quick tidbit about the island. It's got a bunch of
Okay, so this dude said that I guess Japan occupied this island in World War II.
Well, I'll get into the. I'll try to do all the island stuff in one go.
Okay.
But just for the sake of Obata's arc, there's a bunch of World War II shit left on the island.
Yeah.
Including a seemingly limitless amount of gasoline, among other things.
Yeah.
And Obata has been using this gasoline to burn cavefuls of bats.
He's been like sealing up the entrances, I guess, and just burning them.
This plot is fucking crazy.
It's so weird.
Like,
I thought
it really might be. These Japanese people might have been like dropping acid or something.
I don't know.
People
It was
talk
about the
about-
right time.
People talk about. Yeah, this was 1970.
Yeah.
People
yeah,
talk
that's
about
just
Hedorah, Godzilla versus Hedorah, like that's the trippy one. You know, spoiler alert, but some trash turns into a monster and fights Godzilla.
Mm-hmm.
Not too weird. Space amoeba taking control of a spacecraft, landing it, turning into giant monsters and possessing a guy, making him strong and burn bats, and having these people take pictures, and the guy
For a newspaper.
newspapers burning bats,
Hotel
subplots, scientist who figures out the aliens with no evidence.
Yes.
We'll
We'll get to that.
The natives we haven't got into. There's a fucking hilarious
Yes.
pointless
We'll
arc.
we will get there.
My point is that this shit is so crazy.
It really is. It's not like an outside the box like crazy, like you were saying, like the trash
Yeah.
getting up and fighting Godzilla. That really isn't that crazy. Like it's like, okay,
Yeah.
you know, you got like a thing, and it's
You don't
like,
need
it
drugs to
likes-
come up with that.
No, yeah, it's like a.
You don't need drugs to think like, oh, pollution is the monster.
Yeah, okay, we'll have one that like a monster that likes pollution, and then it like is pollution.
I've never really struggled so far with one of these episodes as much as I have right now with trying to describe what all happened. We're pretty deep in at this point, and we've just scratched the surface of what's going on, really.
Yes.
There's several things that we haven't told you about.
Yeah, and we'll get to them.
Okay. Obata.
Yes.
He's been burning bats.
Yep.
He finds the hero. The heroes have found one cave full of bats unburned.
Yes.
Obata turns up and he goes like, "Hey guys," and they're all like, "Oh, you're alive." He's like,
Yeah. Did you see all
He's
those
like-
burned bats back there?
he was like, he goes, "Yeah, what are you guys doing?" And they're like, "Oh, well, we found out that the bats can like hurt the aliens." And he's like, he like kind of turns and he's like, "That's a pretty good idea.
Yeah.
I need a nap."
Yeah.
And he goes in and like goes to lie down, and then it just like
Cuts.
fucking straight cuts to like later,
Yeah.
and then he's like pouring gasoline into like a little hole that goes into the
Yeah.
cave, and then like the main characters are like, is that fucking gasoline? And they fucking run out and they're like, what the fuck are you doing? And he goes, I am the aliens and I'm going to burn all the bats. And they're like, oh, dude, there's like 20 people holding guns. And they run up and try to fight him, and he goes, I'm 100 times stronger than a regular Obata.
Yeah. And he just kind of tosses them a little bit. They
he does demonstrate some superhuman strength. He picks up our main character over his head and throws him. And
I think that happened for real, too.
what
Like,
might
that guy
be
actually did that.
The most impressive stunt in the movie.
Yeah, I was like, oh my god, he just actually picked that guy up.
So far, the bullets have been proving effective against the monsters.
Quite.
So...
Which we'll get into later.
Right. They don't use guns against this fucking guy, and they have plenty of guns. I
They
was
have guns
screaming
and
at the
spears.
TV. It's the kind of movie that you can't resist screaming at the TV.
Yeah.
You're just yelling at these fucking guys to use guns, and they won't.
At least try it. Like, you know,
And so he sets the cave on fire. All the bats start freaking out, and then
our girl, our main bitch.
yeah, she's like, Obata, we're your friends.
Yeah, just like, remember,
I know you're in there.
Yeah,
And he's like, and it fucking works. He's like,
yeah, he's like,
I have to save my friends.
yeah.
And it's fucking hilarious for us because this guy's barely their fucking friend.
They didn't like him.
All the scenes they've shared together, they've like resented him. They're like, this fucking guy. There's a scene early on where they like first get on the island, and they're like, so where are you gonna sleep? And he's like, I think I'm gonna sleep probably with you guys.
Yeah.
And they're like,
Yeah, they're like, oh my god, he's totally like just forced himself into this whole
he's
story.
annoying them.
Yeah, they don't like him. They do not like him.
Now they're acting like they have some kind of deep friendship that's like worth fighting off. Up until this point, he's been like the person with the weakest will in the plot, and suddenly he's having like a battle with like, you know, these aliens that have possessed him. So he lets all the bats out. He takes off the blockade that's made out of like hay.
Mm-hmm.
All the bats go free,
Yeah.
and then he walks away, and they're like, oh, I think the scientist guy says like he'll be able to fight off the aliens.
Yeah.
Okay. Next time we see Obata,
Yeah, he's on the mouth of a volcano.
a volcano erupts.
Yeah.
At the end of the movie, like straight up out of nowhere, a volcano erupts. This is after all the monsters have gone. This is after everything in the plot has been resolved. He shows up, and the fucking main characters are like, look, it's Obata. Like, he's over there on the other side of the volcano.
Look, he's on the rim. He's at the mouth of the volcano.
Little to no hesitation, he jumps in.
Yeah,
And there's a very, like, he jumps in, and then they cut away to, like, just footage of the volcano. And then voiceover from the scientist character, he goes, Obata killed himself to save us all.
Yeah.
And it's like, what the fuck? They're not even playing, like, emotional music, I don't think.
Yeah, it's which really almost makes it even more depressing. It's like, oh my god, that he just killed himself.
Yeah.
Just like he just steps over.
The scientist guy before that states that he's like, yeah, a volcano is going to kill anything, including space life.
Yeah.
So that's our little confirmation that,
Yes, the plot is over.
yeah, everything's resolved.
Space Amoeba is dead. Sorry, guys, spoilers.
All right. So you guys should know Obata very well by now.
Yeah.
From our description of him.
And you'll get to know him better when you do your homework and watch this movie with our podcast playing in the background.
Yeah. It serves as a commentary.
Yeah.
Because
It syncs up perfectly. It's like Dark Side of the Moon. You know, you sync it up with the Muppets or whatever.
Yeah. Do you have a talking point?
Yeah. I was gonna talk about how this main guy's pretty cool.
Okay. Yeah.
I liked him. He's I don't know. He's just like he's pretty likable. He's kind of like dubious of the plot. He's kind of like I don't give a fuck, but he's like still interested in it. He's pretty balanced.
Right.
You know, and he's pretty cool.
He's a little different than our usual everyman character.
Yeah. He's got a little something to him,
He's
sort
adventurous.
of scruffiness. Yeah.
He's looking for adventure.
Yeah. He's not some buttoned up guy. He's looking for something kind of crazy.
Yeah. Off the cuff.
Yeah. And as the movie goes on, he only gets cooler. I don't know if I want to skip ahead to it, But yeah, he's like taking pictures and everything, and he's kind of got a good sense of right and wrong. He's like, "What are you doing, stealing those plans?
Yeah.
Whatever that plot was, in whatever, you know."
Yeah.
He's like, he knew that wasn't right.
He was on the right side of that situation.
Yeah, he was like, "You can't steal. What are you doing, stealing that?" I trust that it was wrong. That guy was doing wrong. Yeah, he's just kind of doing cool stuff. He's taking pictures underwater at one point, scuba.
Yeah, there's a fucking Steve Zissou underwater
Yeah.
section.
They totally are in the Steve Zissou like suits too.
Yeah, I mean, it was probably shots like that are definitely inspirations for that part
Definitely.
in Steve Zissou. I don't know any famous movies that have that, but it's definitely, and they do
Yeah.
that like Wes Anderson, like constantly zooming in
Yeah.
on like a bunch of people.
Mm-hmm.
Sadly, this is Ishiro Honda's last non-Godzilla movie that he ever directed.
Unfortunately, this is the final non-Godzilla movie.
But he really wilded out for this one.
Totally, yeah.
He wasn't afraid to try. They were trying like new techniques for like these monster. Like it was really, some of these monster movies, like some of these Toho movies, can feel kind of cheap when they're not Godzilla. They're just like, I mean, the Godzilla ones feel pretty cheap at some points too.
Yeah.
But sometimes, like Rodan and stuff, they're kind of
Yeah.
not committing 100%.
Yeah, you can feel that it's B to C tier stuff.
This one, they did not fuck around. They were, I mean, all
Yeah.
the monster designs were cool and everything. They were cool enough to be Godzilla monsters, in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah. They were good enough designs.
They really tried on this one. They were trying to make a cool movie. At this point in Ishiro Honda's career, I don't know how old he was, but I think at this point he was probably like, I'm going to stick to what I can do best.
Yeah.
And I'm going to make like an insane movie
Yeah.
with giant monsters and like three of the guys that I've three of the people that I've only worked with.
I don't know if it's the fault of Ishiro Honda, but there's actually like there's a few good shots scattered throughout this movie. There's one at the very beginning of of the spaceship about to take off, and it's like just like silhouetted in like a setting sun.
Yeah,
and it's kind of like, ooh, that's
I think
that's
it is.
pretty.
There were some good shots in Mothra, the original Mothra.
Yeah, but
I'd say so. I think he can. He might just be one of those visual guys where like he starts off with an idea. He's got like a picture in his mind. He's like, this would look cool.
yeah,
He does that, and then he's like, okay, I'm gonna build the movie sort of around that.
yeah,
The shots that I don't really know, those are gonna be shot like nothing special.
Yeah.
Those are gonna be shot out of
They
necessity.
definitely stick out a lot because there's a lot of nice, flat studio
Yeah.
cinematography here. Just put all the people in one shot and
There's-
go.
The part when they're on the boat at the table, Obata introduces himself, and he's like, okay, and then the three people, they're sitting next to each other, and it's like, okay. Then the scientist guy comes in. He's a scientist, and he's also like the boss of the fucking newspaper.
I guess.
Anyway, he shows up, and he's like behind him, and he like sits on the same side of, they're like on one corner of this fucking table. Like instead of taking up the whole table, they're all in that one corner, so they fit nicely in the frame.
They do not
Makes
have
no
to.
sense.
We are not doing shot reverse shot. We have got to.
No, yeah.
Time is money.
This is Birdman.
Time is yen.
We're doing one shot through all this.
Yeah. Anyways, main guy's cool. I guess I'll just go ahead and skip ahead to this crab scene where the coolest of his feats occur.
Okay.
So Space Amoeba takes over a crab, makes it giant, and starts chasing people. They shoot at, and they have to retreat into the island a bit. And it sort of chases the main guy and our main girl onto sort of this rocky area, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like running from it. As they go, the main guy manages to shoot out first one of the crab's eyes, and it squirts blood.
It's such a cool
Everywhere.
shot.
It's awesome. It's like, oh shit, he just shot its eye out. He's like, and he's not making, I don't know. He's just like, all right, I got it.
Yeah.
And then like they like go a little further. They're running, and then he shoots it again in the other eye.
pops just and it's fucking blind now.
Yeah, and it's going after them, and then like it chases him over a cliff, and he jumps off the cliff, and he hangs onto a branch sticking out of the cliff, and the
Like
crab,
a fucking acrobat.
yeah, and he's like, whoa, and he grabs on, and this crab falls over him and
Yeah.
onto the ground below, but it's still alive. It gets up, and he pulls himself up with the help of our main girl, of course. He pulls himself up back onto the cliff, and then he gets his rifle back, and he shoots at some gasoline that was near the crab, I guess.
There's like a ton of gasoline.
Ton of
down there.
gasoline. He shoots something else, and the crab blows the fuck up. It's really cool.
You gotta understand, there's nothing in these movies. There's really nothing like that to compare it to.
Yeah, the characters never take action. You know, they're usually just kind of there.
Yeah.
You know, and maybe they take like one action throughout the whole at like the very end or something.
Yeah. Sometimes it's like a team effort
Yeah.
or like it's the culmination of like a movie's worth of work.
Yeah, a plan that's been developed by committees and scientists and shit.
A lot of times in these movies, people shoot at the monsters and nothing happens.
Yeah.
The monsters are a little smaller in this one, so the bullets and the fire affect the monsters more than they usually do.
Yeah.
But in Godzilla movies and, you know, Rodan, Varan, even though we haven't
Yeah.
seen very much of it,
Yeah.
there's no scenes like that where like the character does something and then
They hurt.
they hurt the monster
They
like
have an
that
effect on.
in such a particular way,
Yeah.
and it's just the action. It's all executed in a way that's really engaging.
Mm-hmm.
It's like whoa, whoa, whoa.
Yeah. Yeah. It totally caught us off guard, I think.
Yeah.
It's, you know, 'cause just the way these movies are, and that was a real nice surprise, and you
A
know,
surprise to be sure, but a welcome one.
Yeah, he's just cool throughout. He's just a good guy.
So let's talk about. I want to talk about the Islanders.
Mhm.
Then we can get into the monsters, and then I want to do the island.
Okay,
Okay, and we can also any other talking points we can squeeze in there.
right.
The Islanders, a quickie.
No brown painted Japanese people.
There's a few tan ones.
I think that's just their natural skin tone, though.
I don't know.
I don't think they were painted.
They
Certainly not as bad as King Kong versus Godzilla.
yeah, they were painted like a dusty brown in that one.
Yeah.
This one's, I guess, if they are painted, it's like a spray tan kind of deal.
Yeah.
But they're on a boat at one point where like one of the natives who becomes like one of the main characters. Actually, he's like they're on a raft, and they're like going from the cruise ship that they're on to the island.
Mm-hmm.
And they say like something to him. They're like, "Oh, the natives here still like us, isn't that right, Rico?"
Yeah.
And Rico just starts speaking English, and he's like, "Oh, you can understand us."
Yeah.
The reason I bring that up is they assume that he couldn't speak their language.
Yeah.
So I think he's supposed to look that different from them that he's like, you wouldn't assume that he speaks their language. I think
Yeah.
he's supposed to look really foreign.
Yeah. I
Which
think
is-
they're just supposed to be kind of like Pacific Islanders.
We can
You
only
know.
hope.
Yeah.
We can only give them that much wiggle room.
Yeah.
So the Islanders there, if you've ever seen the Islanders from any of these Toho movies,
Yep.
you know what to expect.
Yep. Shaman. There's a shaman.
They've
or
got a chief, yeah.
spiritual leader of some type.
Yeah.
Tribe leader. He's there. We got a hot girl or two that always show up, you know.
What is different about this one? Rico becomes kind of a main character.
Yeah.
He in a crucial moment towards the beginning
Yeah.
of the movie, he survives an attack by one of the monsters,
Yeah.
Gazora,
Of course.
and he gets knocked unconscious, and when he wakes up, he's
In a fugue state, sort
he's
of.
all fucked up.
Yeah.
He can't, his eyes are crossed, and he forgets
Yeah.
how to talk.
Yeah, he's just like kind of catatonic, but he's like walking around though. That
Yeah,
you
he's
can, like,
walking
lead
around.
him
He's just like mute and stupid.
Yeah.
Like he's just, I called him a walking nothing.
Yeah.
Because he's just a fucking body, and his girlfriend shows up, and she's like, "Oh, Rico!"
Yeah.
She's like, "No, what happened?" And
Yeah.
like, for a brief second, they're like, "Oh, is he gonna be okay? Can we get him back to normal?" And then
Yeah.
after a while, they just start dealing with him like that.
Yeah, like he's like that. Like he's pretty much gonna be like that forever now.
Yeah, they're like, okay, this is Rico.
Yeah.
So, and his girlfriend's still walking around.
She likes him still.
They're holding hands everywhere they go,
Yeah.
except he's just not talking. There's one point in this fucking movie where they walk up to our main characters.
They just killed the crab.
Just killed the crab, and Rico, or the lifeless shell that is Rico, and his girlfriend come up. She says something.
Yeah.
And they're like holding each other. Or she's holding him, and he's there looking fucking dumb. She says something like, "Oh, we're doing something," and
we joked.
Yeah, I said, "Oh, we've decided to get married."
Yeah, because haha, he can't say no.
Matt and I get a good chuckle out of that.
Ha ha ha.
It's funny because it's so random. Like,
yeah,
why the fuck would they get married?
Yeah.
Like, because their village just got destroyed by monsters.
The monster's still out there.
He's brain dead.
Mm-hmm.
They're in the midst of like trying to solve a fucking problem.
Just nice and off the wall. Haha, it's funny.
That's the typical kind of jokes you can expect us to make during a movie like this.
Mm-hmm.
As we were joking about that, she actually said we've decided to get married.
Yeah.
And
they hard cut to a wedding.
Hard cut to like a fucking island wedding.
Yeah.
And I just started like screaming, basically. I was like, they're getting fucking married! Like,
it was so funny.
What?
It's so much fun. Like, it's so fun. Like, they don't like acknowledge, like, we've decided to get married. And he's just there, like,
they've got him dressed up in like island
wedding
ceremonial garb.
Yeah.
And he's still fucking brain dead walking around. They're like, ha!
Oh, we're getting married.
So what happened? Oh, yeah. They're fucking... I was laughing my ass off. I don't know if you were. I don't know if you thought it was just funny.
Really funny.
I was just like, this is fucking crazy. This is so stupid. And I was like, look, and because they're in the middle of this plot, there's fucking aliens. They don't know there's aliens yet, I don't think. The scientist may have brought it up at this point.
No, he had brought it up right after they kill the crab. It was like the scene right before she tells them we're getting married.
Either way, they're dealing with a larger threat. At this point, they know it's not just monsters. They know it's something creating monsters.
Yeah.
And they know that it's not going to stop. They know that like killing the crab and the octopus were not the end of it. Mm-hmm. So they're like, what are we going to do? We have to figure out what the alien's weakness is. We have to figure out what it's doing, where it is.
Hard cut to wedding.
Hard cut to the wedding. And like, it's not just the islanders who are taking a break from the plot. The fucking main character is there taking wedding pictures. And everybody's having a grand old time.
Yeah.
The fucking village has just been destroyed. And they're like having a fucking wedding in like this makeshift like area that they've made. And the fucking main character is taking pictures of them. He's like, yes, smile. And it's so fucking weird. It's like, oh my god, it's just so off color. Is that the right way to describe it?
It's just so left field.
It's so just weird.
Yeah.
Tonally, I cannot describe it.
It really is like something we joke about. It's like a scenario we'd make up, and we'd be like, haha, the main guys would be like taking wedding photos.
Like nothing's wrong?
Yeah, like nothing's wrong, and haha, he'd be like, he'd be drooling and shit while they're, getting married, and she's just fine with it.
And they're not playing it up for laughs at all.
No.
Sometimes in these movies, I'll be like, I can't really tell if they were trying to make it funny.
But give them the benefit of the doubt sometimes.
This one, I don't think they were trying to play this for laughs at all.
I don't think so.
It doesn't come off that way at all.
Yeah.
So as the guy is taking pictures, the brain dead Rico...
Yeah. He takes a picture with flash right in Rico's eyes.
Yeah. And boom, Rico's back to normal. He freaks out for a second, and then he remembers everything.
Yeah.
Everything's back to normal.
And then a monster attacks, I think, right after that.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. The Islanders are a lot of fun in this movie.
Yeah, they're pretty cool.
Their chief, I frequently referred to him as Moses because that's how he looked.
Yeah, Moses / Abraham, I would say.
Yeah.
One of those. To pick your poison.
Yeah. Choose your fighter kind of deal.
Yeah.
One more thing I want to mention about the natives is that they're singing a song sometimes. All of these movies with the natives, you're going to have scenes where they're chanting. They start chanting, and I noticed that they're actually chanting the same song as the Islanders in King Kong versus Godzilla.
Oh, really? I didn't.
It's a new version. It's not the same audio.
Remix.
Yeah, well, they have like different people singing it, but it's like the
Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
that sound familiar now?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
I know
playing that, and the audio, usually when they're chanting, it's not like at the forefront like it is with the King Kong ones.
Right.
But I definitely heard it. Just a little something that somebody smart like me could pick up on.
Yeah. Big brain. Smooth brain.
Smooth brain. The monsters.
Monsters. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So these monsters, I think we've mentioned it a couple times already.
Yeah, we've skirted around some of the... Yeah.
Space Amoeba, Cloud Gas has been making these monsters big.
Animals big.
Animals big. Sorry. Yeah. It just takes like normal animals, makes them big. We got a squid,
Right.
2 crabs.
They call it an octopus, but it looks...
It's a squid. That's
Yeah.
a squid. That's not an octopus.
It might be a bad translation, honestly.
Might be. Yeah.
So I think the Japanese would know damn well the difference between a
Yeah, they know their way around a piece of seafood.
squid. Yeah.
Yeah, so we got a
Squid,
squid, crab, and then turtle. First crab, as we said, gets blown up, and then they just do another crab. The crab, I thought was pretty cool. The suit, if you want to talk about that a little bit.
The
crab,
Mighty Mr. Krabs.
Yeah, the Mighty Mr. Krabs. He's got like these things. You know how crabs have those fucked up, gross little mouths.
Yeah, mandibles or
Yeah,
whatever. is in there.
mandibles. These weird things. Well, the crab in this one has those, and they're like moving around. I thought that was pretty cool.
They look good.
Yeah.
It's very reminiscent of that crab monster in Pacific Rim.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally.
You know, a more primitive version.
Mm-hmm.
Later on, they try their hand. Toho, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
tries its hand at another crustacean monster with Ebra.
Ebra, yeah.
And this one they do a better job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Even though they're going for different animals, but this one is definitely better. It's like they put more effort into it, honestly.
Yeah. I mean,
Crab.
there's effort in this movie. Like, it's definitely evident.
I'm sure they give it a name in the Japanese one.
Yeah, I think.
But in the dub, they strictly call it giant crab.
Yeah, they call it the big crab a few times. Let's talk about the squid real quick. The squid walks onto land very early on.
Gazora. He's the only one who gets...
Yeah.
Well, no, the turtle gets Amoeba.
I didn't notice that. First time we see him, he's like already on land. We don't see him come out of the ocean.
No,
Remember
we
that?
do.
No, we don't.
Yeah, that first scene where he's attacking those people, those 2 guys.
Okay, yeah.
He starts out in the
never mind.
ocean.
And then, but like when we see him come onto land in like the main part of the movie, you know, when he comes
Are you
to
saying
attack,
like we don't see him walking out of the ocean?
Yeah, we don't see him walk out of the
Okay,
ocean.
yeah.
Hard cuts to him, and he's already walking around on land. And at least for me, that implied that he had already been like walking around,
Yeah.
like for a long time on land. He's just been like kind of strolling around, and they do an all right job in some spots at hiding the fact that is a guy in the suit with just 2 legs sticking out of the bottom, walking around with all these tentacles, like sort of a skirt of tentacles
Yeah.
around him. But you can kind of tell early on that, you know, you can kind of see the outline of this man inside
Yeah.
this squid suit. It's pretty funny. It's way too flimsy. Well, I guess that makes sense for a squid, though. I don't know.
Yeah.
Stiff would be just as funny in a different way.
You can have your complaints, as I do, with these monster suits, in particular Gazora. In my opinion, Gazora's kind of the selling point of this movie.
Yeah,
He's kind of the xenomorph of this movie.
definitely. I'd say he's just as iconic.
Yeah. But he really is like... Gazora is like... they put him on all the covers because like he's the most interesting monster design of this movie. They're like, yeah. You want to know what this is all about?
Yeah.
Come on. That's kind of the...
I don't know
what
why.
Gazora represents to me.
I had it in my head that he was going to be the space amoeba.
Yeah.
When I looked at like the thumbnail for this on Amazon,
Yeah.
I was like, you know, I thought it was going to be like a giant amoeba of some type from space, and he was going to grow, and he was going to look like a, you know, tentacle monster.
Okay.
Like he's kind of a squiddy monster, you know, whatever. But yeah.
I like the monster design.
Mm-hmm.
It's got its problems. You can tell it's a guy in a suit, and it's dated as fuck. I'm not trying to say that this suit holds up or anything.
But it does.
It's pretty iconic, though.
There's something about it, yeah.
It's definitely got...
It got that 60s, 70s camp Japanese
And it's
kaiju movie.
specifically
Dang.
Toho. I want to talk about the monster suit designs right now.
Yeah.
If you watch these movies as unhealthily as we do,
Mm-hmm.
you'll notice there's different quality control, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And Toho really puts out the best quality ones.
Definitely.
And I guess they also put out the most, like, by far.
Yeah.
But you'll see pictures of, like, Ultraman,
Mm-hmm.
Ultraman's monsters, and you'll see the Gamera monsters.
Yes.
And there's different tiers to the quality in all of those. But you almost know when it's a Toho monster just by the design. They've got something. I don't know exactly how to describe it because it's midnight. But they've got a trait where it's like they've put... Maybe it's just like the effects team.
They've got a way of doing things.
Yeah, you can tell the same team worked on them, even though they've got completely distinct looks.
Yeah.
There's something linking them. There's a texture there. There's
They've just got a certain way of doing things that shines through in the final product in some way.
something in the way she moves.
Yes.
When you're looking at these monsters, you don't feel like they're cheap knockoff monsters like some of the other monsters and like Gamera do.
Yeah, I was calling like Rodan and like, you know, other shit like Gamera and all that. I was calling that like B to C tier shit. And I would say this feels like, I'd say A minus.
Yeah, I mean, it just feels like it's got that like Toho stamp of quality.
Yeah, it feels, yeah.
And it's still shitty. I mean, Toho makes
Yeah.
shitty movies, but
Don't get us wrong. It's got
got-
something about it that's memorable.
he's got those eyes.
The eyes might be a big part of it.
The eyes are really cool, and they do this cool thing where I think they have lights in them where they're like sort of like fluctuating.
Yeah.
They'll like glow red a little bit and then stop and then start again.
Yeah.
And it's really cool, even though, yeah, you can totally tell the fucking guy's got legs there that are just kind of half-assed disguised as tentacles.
Yeah.
You know, he's a little hunched over, walking around with all these tentacles.
They get
But there's
like
something so cool about it.
Yeah.
Isn't he cool?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think-
definitely agree that there's something like about him that you know look at him and it's like he's got an identity that goes with this movie somehow.
Yeah, and I think he could be a Godzilla monster.
Mm-hmm.
Easily. And I'm sure you know this. He was in the NES Godzilla game.
Yeah.
He could easily be a Godzilla monster. He's got enough definitive traits to be like a Godzilla monster. And I know it's just a giant squid, but it's also a little bit more than that. Like he's not like an anatomically correct squid. His tentacles are like stubby and like he probably has the wrong number of them. He's got these like weird eyes.
Yeah.
And he's just different enough to make him a monster.
Yeah.
You know, like King Kong's just different enough from a real gorilla to make him a monster.
Yeah.
They do lazier shit with Godzilla.
Definitely.
Fucking Mothra and, you know, even though Mothra's fucking cool, you know.
It's just a giant.
Basically
of
just a
something.
moth.
Yeah.
And Ebera, another example.
That is just a crawfish.
Yeah. It's just a really memorable giant monster.
Mm-hmm.
The other two work really well for this movie as well. I'm not trying to take anything away from them.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're here for Gazora.
Yeah.
But these two do a good job.
I'd say they go A, B, C. A is from best to worst. I'd say is Gazora,
Crab.
Big Crab, and then Turtle.
Yeah.
But that's not to shit on the turtle.
Turtle's got his own thing going.
Turtle's got his own thing going on. I think he's a little underdeveloped, to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't think he got the time he quite deserved.
He wasn't fully realized.
Yeah, I'd say. Don't know if that's the result of editing or whatever, but he's got a special attack. Shoots at his neck.
And he never uses that for any kind of...
No, he just kind of does that.
He does that and screeches.
Yeah.
One notable thing about the crab, or not the crab, I'm sorry. So sorry. About the turtle, Amoebas. His roar is the same roar as Kamacuras from Son of Godzilla. I don't know if you noticed that.
Yeah.
It's the same one, and then he's got like another monster cry like kind of layered over that they play sometimes, but it's primarily that, like whistling noise, because it's a cool monster design.
Yeah.
It's like honestly cooler than Gamera, I think.
Definitely. Yeah.
Because you're taking like turtle and then you're like making it spiky,
Yeah, it's
And,
got like
like-
a nice like shell. I don't know. It's got like an armored appearance.
Yeah, it just looks more monster-esque than Gamera.
Yeah.
Gamera it's just like turtle, and you put him on 2 legs and give him fangs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not to shit on Gamera. I think Gamera gets some pretty cool upgrades down the line.
Definitely.
The Heisei movies are certainly cooler than Kamiba's, but as far as OG Gamera, Kamiba's is actually a nicer design, I think, and I think that's due in part to the Toho quality.
Definitely.
You want to get into the island and then Dawn Fries?
That sounds good to me.
All right. So, the island. What does Grattan Conwell think about the fucking island?
It's not real. Is it real? Probably not.
Let me look it up.
You didn't even fucking look it up?
I didn't even think to give this fucking island
It's not
that
real. It can't be
Selgio.
real. They keep calling this island Selger or Selgo a bunch of times, but it's in, if you look at the subtitles.
It's not real. Okay. So, the island in this movie is not real. If you look it up, it'll take you to Gojipedia, the internet's biggest cancer sore. I think the Godzilla Wikipedias are really cool.
Oh, I didn't know you had cancer. I didn't know you
you were fucking retarded. But no, I do like those. I think I like that you can get like kind of a one-stop shop for all the info. It's not quite as cancerous as like the Star Trek ones.
Or Wikipedia.
Yeah, where it's like just filled with the useless information. It's typically like
it's usually shit.
It appeared here and here and here and can do this and this.
Yeah, there's a lot of spaces in which these movies, their lack of quality sometimes leaves spaces which need to be filled.
Yeah.
And comics and,
yeah,
extra media usually fill in those gaps, or they're filled in by the fans themselves trying to figure this shit out. It can be a good place to figure that shit out.
What I was thinking in the beginning of this movie, I was thinking, a fucking island again.
Yeah,
because like even
I was laughing when they said, now let me tell you about this island.
Yeah, and it's something, if you're listening to this podcast, it's probably getting on your nerves now that all these islands keep coming up. At first I was just like, it's another fucking island. Like, imagine being at like the pitch meeting where fucking Ishiro Honda's like, okay, so we're gonna do like this monster movie set on an island.
Yeah.
Do they fucking laugh at him? I don't know. It's just
they
so
might
done
have
to
a
death.
formula at this point.
It's just so done to death. But after seeing the movie, after seeing it in action, the island is, they kind of use a lot of cliched things. You got the fucking guy taking pictures, you got like the newspaper aspect, there's a fucking scientist, there's a fucking shifty betrayal guy, there's aliens, and there's monsters.
Yep.
All of those have been reused several times.
Yes.
So me shitting on the island in this particular one wouldn't be as warranted, I'd say, rather than like,
it really isn't like a device in like the others. It's a setting for the whole movie. You know?
I can get a little more mad at the island and Godzilla versus or Invasion of the Astro Monster because there doesn't need to be an island in that one.
They just have
this one.
Yeah.
This is an adventure movie.
Yeah.
I decided this isn't a kaiju movie. This is an adventure movie.
Yeah.
You follow these guys on an Indiana Jones-ass adventure featuring giant monsters.
Yes.
And the adventure takes place on an undiscovered island.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't really get mad at the fact that the island's being used as like a cheap plot device in a kaiju movie.
Yeah.
Because it's an adventure movie.
It's acting as a setting. Yeah, it's
and
fine.
It feels alive, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
You go to like Infant Island or Monster Island and you just get these like specks. You really have no fucking idea where you are, really. You can't get any sense of place. This one, they're running all over the island.
It gets a sense of identity, yeah.
And you got the villagers, you've got the monsters. There's like, they go into like caves and they go into like this little cove area. They go to coastlines, mountains, cliffs. You see everything in this island, and it really feels like, okay, it's worth it now. You've got everywhere you need to go.
Yeah.
Even though you've seen it before. You've seen monsters fighting on cliff sides. You've seen monsters coming onto the shore. You've seen the monsters fighting in water.
Mm-hmm.
But here, it just feels natural. All these, Gazora and Big Crab being water creatures Makes sense.
Yep.
And the turtle. It all works. Another thing about the island, they say that it was under Japanese occupation during World War II.
Yep.
We touched a little bit on this.
Yes.
And they say that the natives were basically, they don't say this, but they kind of imply that the natives were kind of enslaved during that period.
There's a tone of when the guy mentions it to Rico, he's like, yep, we're very thankful that the natives are still friendly towards us.
Well, he kind of says it like really shitty. He's like, yeah, we really fucked these people over. He's like, we really fucked these people over, and they still like us. That's kind of the vibe I got from it.
Right.
Like, and they still fucking like us after that shit. So
Yeah.
the whole movie, and I guess it works to help this insane plot, they left like a ton of guns and gasoline on this island from World War II. So much
Much
gasoline.
more gasoline than guns.
They left like a ton of rifles.
Yeah.
There's a cool part.
Yeah, where there's these guys coming up. They're like waiting near like the shore for some reason. I don't remember why. I think they're like waiting on a monster or something. But they're these guys. You see them and they're bringing something. And you can't really see it, and they're just like, and then they set
Natives.
something down. What?
The natives are bringing something.
Yeah, the natives are bringing something, and they're just like, and they bring it down, they set it down, and then they cut to it, and it's a fucking heavy machine gun. You know, one that
It's a rail gun. Am I wrong? Is that?
I don't think so. It's like just one of those heavy machine guns that you have to like put on a stand to be able to shoot.
It's on a fucking like tripod.
yeah.
And you just feed it ammo.
yeah. And they fucking
out of
they use
nowhere.
it. Yeah, they use it almost immediately.
Yeah. Dude,
They know how to use it. They know how to use this shit.
Well, I almost made a joke because like the natives, they're like setting it up and then they like bump into it and the main character's like, watch out, and it fucking like starts going off by itself and it starts like shooting rocks and shit. It's like, it's like a fucking joke.
Yeah.
It's just like it fucking starts going off. It doesn't really hurt anybody. We made a joke about it killing
blowing the shifty guy
Obata.
I almost said otaku. We made a joke about it clearing the top of his head off.
Yeah.
And then they use that on the crab to limited effect, but they still they're right on top of it. They use that gasoline a lot.
They use it so fucking much.
Yeah, that gasoline is.
They use it to kill Gazora.
Gasoline moves the plot forward, and
they use it to kill the crab.
Yeah.
They use it for Obata to try to kill all the bats. He does kill a good amount of bats.
Yeah.
So much gasoline.
Gasoline fuels the plot, you could say. It moves the plot along like a car. You know, if you fill your car up with gas, you know that?
I'm listening.
Okay, well, it does that to the movie. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Do you have the Shawshank Redemption on Blu-ray?
Yes.
Let's get into Don Fry territory.
Okay.
I'm going to let you go first. I don't remember who went.
Oh, thank you.
I know.
Wow. Thank ya. I mean, I enjoyed this movie. It doesn't really quite work like a real movie. It doesn't have that extra bit to push it, into really high scores for me.
I agree.
But this definitely is a fun movie to watch. It would have been a lot more fun if we could have been making jokes the whole time. If you want to make fun of a movie, this is a good, campy, goofy thing to be making fun of. There's a lot of stuff. There's always stuff going on. It's never dull. There's never a dull moment, really.
Right.
It's not as exciting and jam-packed as some of the other ones we will be reviewing and the ones we have reviewed, such as King Kong versus Godzilla, which is just dense. But there's always something going on that you can pay attention to or joke about. And nothing really pissed me off in this movie. The monster fights never got old. There's no scene where they're shooting endlessly at something. They're never throwing anything. None of it ever wore on me. Some of it just didn't make sense. I mean, that didn't really even irritate me because they barely spend any time on it. They're moving at a mile a minute. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to give this movie strong 6 and maybe a 7 when I'm feeling real good.
Yeah, the movie's on it's good behavior.
Yeah, if the movie's doing real good, washed the dishes, did its homework, 7.
Okay. I think this movie is such a good time.
Mm-hmm.
It comes close to King Kong versus Godzilla, and I think if we weren't trying to do our part by reviewing this movie, if we weren't watching it for educational purposes, I think we would have had a good time, maybe even better than King Kong versus Godzilla.
Maybe.
It's just one of those movies
Yeah.
where there is so much stuff to make fun of. And I don't know, I'm glad that we didn't watch this movie subbed. We wanted to.
Yeah.
We both wanted to go into it subbed. Completely forgetting that I want these things to be fun.
Yeah, I guess after Varen, we've just been kind of hurt.
Yeah.
We don't want to be hurt again. Varen was such a bad experience. You know, I want everything Japanese.
Right.
Okay? Please.
Yeah.
Don't let the English people, don't let these American dogs touch my movie.
Yeah. It really is. That ruined my fucking night.
Yeah,
Getting
Varen.
that American 50s America-ass version of Varen.
Damn, Varen was so bad.
But this movie is so much fun to watch.
Yeah.
It
And
had
a lot of that comes from the dub, I think.
In these movies, we really try to pull ourselves back. I think not so much anymore. I think we know when to let ourselves loose a little bit.
Yeah.
Because there's certain things that we can make fun of that we'll never get to address during these episodes.
Yeah,
little
totally.
moments.
Just little bits, yeah.
Little moments and funny stuff that can't really be described in the podcast.
Totally.
And this is just such a fun, even in that restricted mode. I like jumped up once or twice, like out of my seat, because there was some funny shit going on.
The wedding was a big one. That's
The
just
wedding-
so funny. If we'd been making fun of it the whole time, that would have been so much more of a highlight, because it's like, oh my god, they actually did that thing we fucking joked about.
The wedding, shooting that monster's eyes out, the fucking railgun, the fucking, like, there's a part when, like, the villagers were, like, handing, like, guns and ammo to the people. There were, like, 3 consecutive shots of, like, the villagers just handing things.
Here's guns, here's ammo, and they hand them something else, but it's, like, really funny. They're like, thank you.
Yeah, you made a joke about them, like, handing them cupcakes.
Yeah, like, they just, like, kept handing them shit. Like,
Yeah.
all right, here's a calculator. Here's, here's
Pack
some
of
pencils.
cigarettes.
Yeah, here's a pack of cigarettes. Here's a paperback for you to read.
Car keys.
Yeah.
But it's such a good movie for this. It's not very heavy on the sci-fi, although it has the aliens.
It dabbles.
It's not one of those movies. You wouldn't think of this movie as aliens trying to conquer the Earth movie.
No, even though
like,
they are trying to do that.
At its core, that's what's moving the plot.
Yeah, but it's totally not like what the movie's about. Like,
Yeah.
like you said, it's an adventure movie, and that's just sort of a little a topping.
The best way I can describe this movie is an adventure movie.
Yeah.
And I think, arguably, if you really don't care about any of the movies that we're watching, which I think everybody listening probably cares at least a little bit, unless they like know us personally.
Yeah.
They're probably gonna at least have some knowledge of these movies.
Yeah.
But to the percentage of you who's out there who don't care about these movies, you're just listening to hear our insightful comments. Watch this movie.
Yeah. Get a friend if you have those, and watch this movie, because it's
Sit down and watch this one out of all of them. Like, even I can understand not wanting. Getting into Godzilla is daunting.
Yeah.
I'll give you that. There's a ton of Godzillas, and I know that, like, some people have, or a lot of people have this, like, sense where it's like, well, I can't just watch some of them. I have to know what's going on. Watch this one. You don't need any context at all.
It's a standalone thing.
It's a standalone, less than an hour and a half. It's an hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah.
There's so much packed in here. You can probably watch it like 3 times.
Yeah.
And not get bored.
We could probably find new stuff to make fun of if we like went back through.
If this movie was on Blu-ray, I'd buy it in a heartbeat.
Absolutely.
This is one I want to have.
Yeah.
It's really cemented itself. I've always heard about it. It's always been one of those like $30 DVDs that I never wanted to commit to. We saw this on Amazon Prime. If you have Amazon Prime, you have this movie.
Yeah, it's free. It's free on
Prime. Free
Prime.
on Amazon
the
Prime
streaming service.
Take advantage of that.
Yeah, before it's gone or something. It's been on there for a while. I don't know how much longer it will be on there, but go check it out. It's so much fun.
This movie really hit the spot
Totally, yeah.
in a lot of ways. This is what excites me about doing this podcast, is getting to see new movies like this.
Yeah.
And it's honestly a little sad that this is one that's behind me now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This has always been one that I've been trying to get around to.
Right.
And it's well worth it.
Totally.
I think people should talk about this movie more. I guess I've said everything that I really need to say, and I'm going to give this movie an 8.
Wow.
I'm feeling 8. You're right, it doesn't hit its mark as a good movie.
Yeah.
There's not really good acting. The story is basically all shit.
It's a mess.
Everything
I'd
they're
say it's
trying to
this way.
do, they fuck up a little bit.
But
Everything the filmmakers are trying to do, they're not quite hitting the mark.
Yeah.
But
There's entertainment value here.
it's pure entertainment. And it's another one of those situations that I've been harping on where they're not trying to push some shit on you.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to get a video essay on how the fucking like Cold War influenced this movie or something.
This is just camp for the sake of camp and entertainment.
Please watch this movie.
Yeah.
You should watch this movie, and I think this would it's up there with some of the funniest for me. King Kong Escapes, it's up there.
Really?
Yeah. There's a ton of Godzilla movies, and this movie is everything I wanted out of The X from Outer Space.
Yeah. It totally fucking is.
It's everything I wanted out of The X from Outer Space, besides like some city destruction.
Yeah.
There's no city destruction, but the monsters are smaller, so
It's fine.
that hillside island
It
landscape
works for
lends
scale,
lends
yeah.
itself more to this.
It doesn't come off as lazy.
No, yeah,
Quite.
it doesn't come off as cheap.
It's weird. They fuck up a lot of stuff in this, but they tried.
Yeah,
Is the thing.
they
in
gave
a
their
lot of this.
damnedest.
Yeah. There's no real. They went for it.
And I don't want this movie to be lost to time.
Mm-hmm.
I want people to watch this movie. This is up there with Godzilla, and I know as a kid I would have been turned off by this movie. Like if I had future me sat down with 7-year-old little me and put this movie in and said, "You're gonna like it," I would have liked it. I guarantee you, but I would have been waiting for Godzilla the whole time. That's just how my dumb little kid brain works.
Right.
But I think that's also kind of what is going to turn off casual monster movie viewers from this.
Possibly, yeah.
Is that there's no title character, there's no Gamera, there's no Godzilla, there's no King Kong. But it's totally one of those movies where everybody who's into these movies should see this movie at least once.
Yeah.
I mentioned last movie that Giant Claw is kind of one of those movies that people can fall in love with.
Yeah.
In a different but similar way, this is something that people can fall in love with.
Mm-hmm.
This movie's got character out the ass. To sum it all up, they don't make them like this anymore, and they never will.
Yeah.
It's a kind of filmmaking that's out the window.
Gone
And,
forever.
it
And I
was a
want
fun
it back,
time.
God damn it. I want it back.
I'd give anything if they were making this. So that's everything I have to say about this movie.
Yeah.
Do you know what we're watching next? Because
No.
I don't. One thing that I didn't mention in this movie is that it bears, plot-wise, a very similar... There's several differences, but overall, there's a lot of similarities between this and Godzilla vs. the Sea Monster.
Yep.
Have you seen that one?
I saw it a long time ago. That was one of the ones at my Blockbuster.
Well, we're watching Godzilla vs. the Sea Monster next episode.
Oh, shit. We're stacking these right next to each other.
Yeah, so get ready for some more island bullshit tomorrow.